to the LEC as Vitality gear up the second game in this series versus BDS. Back to the drawing board was the name of the game. Game 1's draft not working out too well for them. Execution not either. They remained killless, which is wild. In a top 4 best of 5 to not get a single kill in a game. So credit to BDS for that.
They
and
just
Vitality.
love, like, oh, okay, fine. We get all these dragons, and then we lose the first one. Fine. Let's just spend the whole series not dying. Huh? Ambitious goals. But I respect it.
Imagine being the caliber of player where when you get angry, you could just decide not to just die in the game.
I was going to say, why did they take all these other dragons if they just didn't die whenever they lost the dragon? That sounds like a great trade-off.
I mean, it seems like we'll see if they can maintain it. Of course, I will say, gentlemen, it felt like Vitality didn't really show up in game 1. Our expectations weren't really met. The counter pick for Photon didn't really pan out the way that they wanted to. And it's a long series. Especially a player like Perkz has been in a position like this before. He's no stranger to falling short in a series, and I'm sure that he will rally the team and they'll be able to bounce back. Perkz, Kaiser, champions of the LEC, upset a finalist. We'll see if Vitality can get there once again. Bans coming through. Vi, Olaf removed for Vitality, and the Jace Xayah removed from BDS.
BDS had the luxury of banning Jace and Kennen on blue side in the previous game. We'll see if they opt to do so again here. A lot of things still up and available. Annie on the board.
And that's where Vitality got to swap up their draft a little bit, banning the Olaf over it. But it means that either the Annie or the Kennen will slip on through. So I'm curious to see exactly what BDS are more worried about. I imagine Kennen probably going to be the last one. Just it's so incredibly strong. But actually going to be the Maokai. So trying to make sure they can secure one or the other for themselves.
Will it be the Annie first pick? Yes, it will. We expect that to be Perkz in the mid lane.
Shout out to the person really excited for the Annie first pick.
I will say though, when we've seen the Annie come through for Vitality, they tend to take something a little bit more aggressive for Bo in the jungle and look for these level 1s. We saw it the last game. It's actually the game where Bo had that pop-off performance on the Lee Sin. So I'm curious if you get something similar here and whether BDS are prepared for some level 1 shenanigans like we saw before.
I was just about to say, Aphelios' first pick feels like the pick right now. Crownie had a very strong game 1. He talked about it on Euphoria. I believe he said there just aren't any good Aphelios players in Europe.
They're bad at swapping the guns. And I want you to watch this game, because if I saw it in the previous game, if Crownie ever enters a team fight with red and purple together, that's bad. Never happened once in the previous game. Bad Aphelios, signature move, walking into a team fight with red and purple. That's some Aphelios nerd lore for you. But they just got Kennen, Annie, and Lee Sin. So as good as Crownie's Aphelios was in the first game, this is a veritable powerhouse selection in the first 3.
Interesting. Nuke once again locking in his mid lane. Of course, they expect the Annie to be in mid. We've seen this a number of times from Perkz. And Nuke, he has brought out the Cassio before as well. We saw the Orianna priority earlier, but ultimately it just gives him a pretty safe and strong matchup in the 1v1.
Also, you expect a lot of Vitality to be jumping in on top of you, so it works out pretty well there. The only thing that I'm now concerned about for Vitality is, okay, you've got the Jinx gone, the Lucian gone. Does Upset bring out the Draven again? Do they just want to go for this hyper-aggressive bot lane matchup where we've seen it with the Annie as well, where you just try and set up for the plays mid to then lean that presence into the bot side? You're against an Aphelios who's incredibly short range. This could be the time we see him bring it out again.
Certainly an option. Braum now going to be the final ban here.
Oh, Draven Nautilus, please. It's set up so well.
I mean, again, historically, Upset Draven hasn't always been the flashiest pick. Xayah is definitely a solid option here. That said, the grounded effect on the opposite side can be a little bit difficult. Xayah, I think a bit more stock standard, Dagda. As much I know as you want something a bit more spicy.
But also, I just think Wukong goes in, Xayah presses R. Have fun, Wukong.
Also, you got a Kennen who wants to go in, an Annie who wants to go in, and a Lee Sin who wants to go in. So you kind of want an AD carry who's just going to protect themselves. And Xayah certainly does that well, but Tahm Kench, here we go. Full commitment to the Crownie show here. We've got a tank in the top lane and a Tahm Kench in the bottom lane. That is going to be powerful, but might not have the same immediate playmaking impact here in the early to mid game. Again, I feel like it's a similar story to game 1, gentlemen. A lot of agency on the side of Team Vitality, Team BDS. If they scale up, they are a threat to be reckoned with.
I will say this is a very good game for Vitality to try these level 1s again. We've seen it a couple of times where they do get their hands on Nautilus, the Annie, the Lee Sin, they're able to go hyper aggressive. And when you look across the board, it's not exactly like BDS have the best level 1. So I'm curious to see if Vitality want to try and make that happen.
At the end of the day,
I think Sorry, Daniel.
I was going to say, right now, when you look at these composition, the difference for me is Vitality, a lot of the same stuff going on, but the champions they're doing it with are just better. Annie, way more reliable. Kennen, way more reliable. It's like Akshan, but if it loses lane, it's not irrelevant. It's such a power point for this team overall.
I think the biggest difference to me is that Photon and Kaiser now have a lot more agency, right? I think that it's way easier for them to get out on the map and basically start the fights for themselves, rather than just having all of that responsibility fall onto Bo. So if it does become a 5v5 brawl around these dragons, around these heralds, I just think that Vitality have more options to start these fights compared to what we saw in the last game. Whether or not it will pan out in their favor is another conversation.
Definitely something we have to keep their eyes on. I love the signs coming out from our audience. Shout out to everybody here on a Monday. Please buy more pink. They're red now. Anyway, here we go. Game 2, BDS versus Vitality. On to the rift we go. Stun ready, courtesy of those wonderful Annie quality of life changes. Oh, essentially just buff, really more than the quality of life change. I don't think we're going to see the same kind of crazy play we saw from Mad Lions yesterday with a Braum wandering in mid lane, mostly because there's not a Braum. But Nautilus could do the same thing if they want to go for it.
I will say that's where I think Vitality really shown in their group stages so far, is when Kaiser is able to roam towards mid lane and they can try and play through this mid jungle support. Like even in their last series, I loved how often we just saw that trio moving into the top side to try and play around Photon, see if they can get him some kills. And I think it kind of opened up kind of a big question for me, which I think Upset has kind of been talking about a while, is like, hey, look, I'm totally fine to play weak side if I have a team I can trust. And that series really spoke to that. And I want to see now if Vitality are going to fall back to that style here again, where it's we want to be super active on the map, let Upset just farm it up, and see if we can have Photon be massive on this Kennen team fights.
Something that will have.
Listen, gentlemen, all I want is Vitality to kill, you know? Okay,
I mean, look, Vedius, that's what we said in game 1, and what happened, Vedius? They didn't kill anyone.
No, that's why I'm like, game 2, kill.
And you know what's sad? Is as ready as we were with the BDS Dragon Streak, we couldn't repurpose the text to say last time Vitality.
Oh, did you also ask for that?
No, I thought about it, but I already.
Yeah.
So as BM as that is, we'll see. We got to keep an eye on the first time Vitality get a kill this series with a Lee Sin in the early game. Nonetheless, with Bo's Lee Sin in the early game, you have to assume it'll be sometime soon. But can they still manage to find an advantage, or will it just be a kill?
Bo looking for something bot lane. Hook lands.
Huge hook on the level 1. Crownie going to try to heal back up with the Severum. Labrov can back away. And if you haven't played League of Legends in 2 or 3 years, remember, Tahm Kench doesn't get to eat you till level 6 anymore, so could be very vulnerable here as the ward spotting Bo essentially stops his play in its tracks.
Thank you, observers, for highlighting what BDS could see. They played around vision well. 2 more minions, and that should give Vitality level 2 as well. Kaiser choosing to hold on to that last proc. I expect for the Kennen. We'll have to wait and see. Regardless, both junglers posturing around the bot side of the map right now. Bo being level 2 means that he can get invaded on. Ooh, and it gets smited away.
Sheo coming in, big damage. Red buff ticking, trying to get some kills back, but the Sonic Wave connecting. Perkz in the area. Sheo has to be careful about overcommitting, trying to fake him out like maybe he's cloned forward.
Just really nice adaptation from Sheo there, going, hey, look, we know the Bo is already on the spot side. I have a quicker clear, so let me just try and get in his face and cause some issues with the push in mid. Sets up nicely forward, and now he should have decent control here. Actually, look at where the pathing for Sheo is. He's moving back up towards this top side. Wants to try and contest, it looks like, on this scuttle.
Brav hooked up here, but 1-2, looking for a third stack there. Won't quite get in range to do it. And that's one of the big strengths of the Tahm Kench. Against range matchups, he's useless, but in the early game and melee matchups, he actually packs a punch and is hard to take out.
Also have to apologize earlier. I did say that Sheo stole that Raptor away, but it was Bo that secured it. Bo now recognizes that Sheo on the invade thanks to that ward that was popped over the wall. Sheo doing what he can. Knows he has a health advantage, so is looking to secure the crab. Another hook lands.
Brav taking a lot of damage here. Should just get cut down. Upset, determined to get a kill back. First blood, Vitality, first kill of the series. Looking good to do it. Now they're going to try to fall off and find a second Kaiser. How long left on the hook? Cooldown. Crownie ghosting out to safety. Kaiser, is he willing to go into the tower? He is, but the hook will not land.
Big play from Vitality's bot lane. With a lot more agency, they have the ability to fight, and they punish Labrov for taking one too many oversteps. Sheo, though, unrelenting with his aggression, now finally makes his way onto the blue buff. They keep the Annie underneath the tower, making it harder to rotate. Nuke, though, low on mana. But Sheo looks like he's going to be able to walk away with this one. Small victory for Sheo in the jungle matchup.
And I think credit to Sheo for shutting down what could have been a much more impactful early game for Bo, essentially saying, hey, look, I'm not going to get any jungle CS, but neither are you. And as long as I know that you're here, you're not ganking any of my lanes.
Well, that's the thing. Wukong will still be relevant in a fight regardless of it, right? That knockup is going to have an impact. Lee Sin, a little bit more difficult to make work if you're not in a good spot. So nicely done, even just playing off the fact that Adam had TP'd in, had that push in top side, and now Sheo gets to go back, farm himself up, and power farm towards that advantage where I feel like they're going to, again, try and go for these early dragons, set up for that vision, which they've already got some in mid. And now Labrov.
Going to take that opportunity to almost make it out to safety, but luckily no one was trying to kill him, so he'll just get to walk that one off and hope for a slightly better placed W in the future.
He is quite fortunate that Vitality just assumed he would get out and didn't want to commit to that one. Adam, though, playing the matchup very well. Sion is such an obnoxious champion to bully out of lane, and the damage is good from Adam. Photon doesn't quite have the energy to trade back just yet, but he's maintaining control over the wave. Adam could look for the flash.
Flashing forward, Photon flashing out of the way. Maybe just looking to extend this trade, but has to be careful. Adam, of course, in the zombie form as well, cannot afford to overcommit.
Adam should hit 6 off this wave, though, which means he could end up just turning that ultimate directly onto Photon now that he has no flash.
Keep an eye on those pink bars by the champion icons. Both top laners getting very close to level 6.
One more creep. Does he instantly ult? Photon hitting it first. Adam, is he willing to risk trading 1-for-1 here?
You look at those HP bars, though, and you're like, if you're Photon, you're a little concerned with the shield as well. He's probably thinking that he doesn't quite have enough damage, and he doesn't have information exactly where Sheo is.
I think he needs, I was about to say, he needs just a bit more mana to try and hit both the ults and the Q, but ends up just using the Q and the wave instead, and will back away as Bo is moving up towards his top side. I think Adam a little bit scared of that.
Adam recalling. Photon still poking and prodding in the brush there. Kaiser again going to throw out these hooks onto Labrov. Really hard for Crownie to fire back at all, and Upset just going to be happy to take the free damage. But of course, in the meantime, Sheo, eyes on the prize here, eyes on the dragon. They'll know that it's happening on the side of Vitality, but they do not have the tools to respond because Bo is on the top side of the map.
So while BDS did lose a single dragon, note that after securing this throughout groups and playoffs, they will have secured 21 dragons, assuming that they can lock this one down.
Upset waiting to pull the feathers back.
No smite on Sheo,
no flash, 3 seconds. Perkz can just walk in, finally he'll get the smite up. Now it could be the bot lane of Vitality, they're in trouble. Kaiser trying to make it up city. Perkz on the backside, the anti is huge! Instantly going in, that's why I'm looking for a second. Nuke gonna get taken down. BDS now on the retreat, 2 kills over to Bo.
And they've done so much work in keeping this Lee Sin in check, but now 2 kills going their way. Vitality getting some kills on the board. It may have been Kaiser giving his life for the cause, but it's a good old cause of that.
Wow, so with no smite, BDS were hesitant to secure the dragon, so they wanted to turn on one of the flanks of the bot lane. They set their eyes on the Kaiser. The miasma goes down to prevent him from being able to flash away to safety. The feathers root up long enough for the Tibbers to come in, though. Lands the double stun onto Nuke and Sheo, and it allows Bo to clean up the fight.
As well, the fact that you don't have level 6 on the Wukong means you don't really have a big engage tool here. You're looking at maybe Labrov hitting a W, Nuke if you can find that ultimate, but because it's used defensively, you just have more tools on Vitality to try and set up this fight.
And those kills are so massive for making Bo feel more impactful in the game. She did a good job shutting him down early, but giving up those kills is going to make this Lee Sin such a threat in the fights to come.
Bo has never looked like a big threat when he gets early kills on Lee Sin.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Why would I be scared? Why would there be so much video evidence for me to be scared? That said, the other person who I think really benefits here is Perkz. Yes, it's just 2 assists, but you can see in terms of CS, in terms of the individual lane matchup, Cassio, when she's not shut down by a Braum at level 1, as we saw in the Astralis series, it does so much work in this individual 1v1, but it gets easier when you suddenly find yourself with an extra, 300 gold on the back of a play like that.
Yeah, Perkz on Annie is much more about burst trades, land the stun, hit him with the W, and then you kind of walk away. Whereas Cassio is more about the extended fights. The second that Annie goes in, even after the stun, a Nuke can chase her down. Photon, though, looking at a play on top side with Bo.
Now stepping in with the ult, immediately Adam ults out to safety. Good call. If anybody blocks that, you surely get taken down.
Well played by Adam to get away to safety. Herald now being started off by Vitality.
Perkz over the wall instantly, just going to try to ult this one out. Perkz has a stun available, he's going to stun up too, but Sheo still in front of him. Excellent play here as they manage to take down one. Bo, can he kick back? He will. Kick flash out to safety. Kaiser cannot save his jungler, and that's a shutdown for Nuke.
Just poor pathing coming through from Perkz. Tries to take the greedy route, and BDS punished beautifully there. That will net them the Rift Herald, and a good opportunity now to get some more plates into their back pockets.
So a lot more action in this early game. BDS still a very objective-focused team, as they will secure the Herald as well. Photon still training aggressively. He should be aware that Sheo and Labrov are on the top side of the map, but I guess he's not too concerned given that he does have that control. And look at all this vision littered on the top side. Observe this, if you can just show us what BDS see right now, it's the map. They see everything. Like, it's beautiful vision setup, and this is something we've praised them for consistently, but the way that they set up their vision around the map just gives them so much information as to what Bo is up to, and it helps mitigate and control this very aggressive jungler.
Now, Adam holding on for dear life here on the top side, though, but we'll recall, most likely just going to teleport back to lane. The thing I want to highlight is that while Vitality are trading even in kills, BDS are the team getting the objectives. Yes, Vitality were able to find kills on the back of that Drake fight. It looked good, but they didn't get the Drake. Now, on the back of this one, it's going to be the Herald into the waiting arms of Sheo, and Vitality, yes, we're able to find some impact there, but ultimately not enough to get anything else done on the map. BDS going to slowly start to pull further and further ahead.
And they're going to start to shift this vision control now as well, with the push in bot side, slight push in mid. They're coming across. Kaiser is spotted, but Bo is in the wings.
Going to back away here. Gets a lot easier for the Wukong once the Divine Sunderer comes through, but does not have it quite yet.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this Rift Herald, though, it feels like for BDS, it's a case of push out this bot side, try and collapse on towards mid, throw down the Rift Herald, get control for second Dragon, and then just look to try and snowball off this Photon very low in top side.
Adam, 5 seconds to ultimate, can just ult him. Photon does have flash. If Adam can force it out without using the ultimate, it would be huge. Photon can just flash to safety, immediately going to ult, flashing out, trying to dash away. He tries to get fancy with it, but he just flashes into melee range. He doesn't need an axe, he's got a fist.
Adam playing the matchup extremely well from start to finish. He has been managing Photon exceptionally well. He showcased it in game 1. He's doing it once again in game 2. Question marks around whether or not Adam could compete against Photon, who is praised as the best top laner in the league, and he shuts him down.
It's still really weird pathing here from Photon, though. Just playing on the edge of that rock kind of catches him in a position where he's going to be forced away from his tower. He knows Adam's ultimate's only going to be up shortly, so Photon tries to make it work, doesn't quite have the stun, and Adam's able to get on out.
Yeah, I think Photon should have just flashed earlier. I also think he should have considered flashing to the left, but Adam was able to hit both the ult and the Q before the flash came through, and then he ultimately finished him with an auto attack. So great play once again by Adam. Hook lands on the Labrov.
Excellent series from Adam thus far. They're going to try to burn through Labrov. Upset coming in as well to try to follow up with the immediate CC. Guardian proc mitigates some of the damage. Bo in the area as well. Sheo going to leap out to safety. The clone will make sure he gets out. Nuke now is starting to roam down. Second Dragon on the cards. Chemtech. Good news for BDS. Means it will not be the Chemtech Soul. Vitality in the area, seeming ready to fight this, but Crownie's got great guns. I don't think they can afford to risk this.
You need to be so careful of Perkz as well. He is a good flank up position. Hasn't been spotted because of that control ward, and Vitality are coming in.
Bo ready to kick in, and he's gonna steal it. Oh, Mr. Reliable on the lease in here. Now can they take the fight to follow? The Crownie on the backside, throwing down so much damage. A lot of chakram stacked up. Upset gonna find the root. Vitality should just be able to retreat. Bo finding objectives, making objectives out of nothing. Mountain Ref now coming through, but they're going to step up into Sheo. This could be very risky. Perkz on the backside burned all of his mana. It's only the Timbers left to try to win this one, and Crownie fearlessly stepping forward is going to get one. A lot of damage to Feathers. Upset, can he pull them back? Can he turn this fight back? But Crownie playing on the edge. Crownie playing out of range. Perkz waiting for just enough mana to try to finish off Labrov. Upset grabbing another kill. BDS a little over aggressive on the exchange.
2 for 1 in the kill, and Vitality managed to get the steal on the Dragon. The fact that you have that Rift Herald still in Sheo's back pocket means they won't really get to use that either. Big win for Vitality there.
Upset looked like he could have cleaned up that whole fight. He did consider flashing onto Crownie and Nuke, but decided, you know, I'll just take the easier kill. Bo with a great steal hit, throws the Q over the wall, goes in, smite execute, 800 damage, nothing Sheo could really do about it. I think the smite even came out from him as well, so maybe it was a little early. But regardless, ultimate comes out from Crownie. He's very low on mana, and mana is the really important thing to realize here. With Perkz still having everything up and available, Vitality saying we can fight this. Sheo goes in, great double knockup. Ultimate comes through from Upset. He throws the ultimate onto Nuke to try and keep him out of the fight, but now Perkz has no mana. Great Feathers pull back from Upset, gets that initial kill. But now we're back to live.
Bo stepping in, Crownie gonna find the root though. Bo gonna get taken down, charge comes in, Sheo locked up. Kaiser potentially in trouble. Upset continuing to step forward here, does not have the Gale Force, has the Kraken, so can't immediately try to follow up.
No ultimate for Bo meant that he just kind of went in with no real way out. Even expended the flash but it did not matter. Ended up giving a kill over to Crownie regardless. This man is continuing to get fed once again. Kaiser looks for the hook. Ooh, very close to landing
the
it onto
wind on his
Crownie.
back on that one.
But Crownie walks away to safety. Labrov also with the ultimate, likely could have pulled him to safety.
Our guys are still looking for it though, not quite able to find it. Will give a little bit of control to Vitality on the spot side where they continue to push this in. Bo going to start coming down onto the spot side as well in just a moment's time. I think you need to try and just crash one more wave, get Kaiser, reset, move up towards this Rift Tower that's about to spawn in 50 seconds though, and see if you can actually turn up the heat with some of these big mythics that are being completed.
And unlike last game, the gold neck and neck between their respective carries. Crownie and Upset going toe-to-toe. Last game was absolutely the Crownie show, but Upset doing so well on this game, on this Xayah. Very patient on the feathers, and now not at a massive deficit. He has a champion that can impact the game, a champion that can peel for itself. He's absolutely been set up for success and pulling ahead now that that tower gold has gone in his favor.
Nuke is the real threat this game, though, with 1,000 gold lead over his mid lane counterpart. He's done a great job of just controlling Perkz in the mid lane matchup. Of course, Annie, not the strongest laner in this situation especially, but in the team fights, whenever Sheo tries to engage, Annie's going to be a very difficult obstacle to overcome.
You got to keep your eyes on Photon as well, though. Unfortunately, doesn't have his flash backup available for this fight. Would have loved to have that, but she'll be able to push out this top wave and then potentially lean in here. Crownie starting to move in over towards this Rift Tower as well. BDS want to try and keep control over the area as Vitality are starting to push forward.
Now, Perkz would love to get level 11 before this fight kicks off, and there it is. Ticks over, gets the upgraded ultimate, but I don't think it matters. BDS should be able to secure the objective.
Adam is just a very big frontliner that makes it a bit difficult. Photon on the flank can maybe try to find an angle here to get this fight going, but Adam buying a lot of time, buying a lot of space. No one there to body block the ultimate means he's just going to scooch on out to safety.
Literally a handful of seconds before Photon's flash came up, and I think that's why Vitality were playing a bit slow, seeing if they could take their time and still find the fight after, but unfortunately just not quite able to do so. So BDS just scrape away out of that one, and now we'll have to see if they can get some damage done with this Rift Herald.
And again, I think the big takeaway for BDS is how they're consistently on these objectives first. Yes, the last dragon did get stolen away from them, but they have such a great awareness of timings and where they need to be on the map. You talked about that gun swaps earlier, down Drakos, for Crownie, and he knows that the dragon's up in about a minute's time. We'll keep track. I imagine he's going to try and get rid of his white guns to better pair up with the blue as they set up for the dragon that will be spawning in 45 seconds.
Kind of tough, to be honest. I mean, white on its own, but white with green, white with red. Ooh, Italian flag, Aphelios. I don't know why. It's not even an Italian player in this game, but like Italian colors, good. Every other color, more about utility or team fighting, or in the case of blue, just about ulting. So we'll see. Again, really the only combo that is, I would say, objectively bad is purple and red, because it just doesn't do what an AD carry needs to do. So, as you highlighted, yeah, we'll keep track. See how Crownie manages to manage that. Needs a wave to hit if he wants to cycle through most of his weapons.
Right now, it looks like he doesn't have insane ammo on either one of them.
So the question is, what are the next two that are up and available? Aphelios nerds speculating, or they already know because they've been tracking it all.
To be fair, when you're on low weapons like this is actually where you're most dangerous as an Aphelios, because it means that you get access to 4 guns, 4 Qs very, very quickly if you can manage it. But looks like Crownie about to run out of his chakrams.
Engaging onto Adam, not super effective, but they are getting a lot of damage down. They maybe should be able to shred through him.
Well, that's good.
Not going to get taken.
This is great for Vitality as they've chipped away the front line, and now they're first on the objective to the dragon. For the first time this series, BDS don't have control over the objective, but I doubt they're going to be forced away just yet. Adam, while low, still in a position to fight. They'll drop the Herald mid, maybe they'll just look to trade, and BDS will do just that. They'll concede the dragon, and they'll take this objective instead.
Not wanting to risk anything here, letting Adam back away. Labrov, of course, past level 6 now, has the Devour, can save from a lot of burst damage. Q onto Perkz is going to connect. Is this their opportunity to follow up? For now, just poking, because Crownie and Sheo are just continuing to push in the mid lane. BDS, how do they get out of this situation? They back themselves into a corner here. They need to be ready to Devour. Instantly, he's going to get eaten up. Labrov going to get taken down. Crownie now going to Gale Force out of safety. Big ult into the midst of 3. Massive from Nuke and Aphelios. Nuke and Crownie turning the fight on 2 presses of their arm button. Nuke now following up. This is the onslaught of damage that a Cassio can provide. Triple for Nuke. Monster performance from the Cassio.
Unbelievable turnaround there by BDS. The ultimate from Crownie immediately followed up by Sheo, and there was no hope for Vitality because of that miasma placed down by Nuke. That was a 1-2 combo if I've ever seen one.
You can see that Vitality's trying to catch Crownie out. He's getting collapsed on by 2 sides. A good flash away into the consume from Labrov, but a 2-man stun from Perkz. It looks good. The exhaust comes down onto him. The Kennen dives in, but then the Cassio ultimate to root up both Bo and Photon, followed up by the ultimate from Crownie. The Infernum doing insane damage. And then it's just Nuke to clean up the fight. That choke point doing so much work for BDS as they walk away the victors.
Now a fight on the top side. Sheo trying to make it out safety. Nuke in the area. Nuke went back and completed an item. He is so damn strong. Bo gonna come in. He's gonna try to play cleanup, but Vitality just getting obliterated. The carry threats on the side of BDS going absolutely nuts.
And Sion isn't even here. Adam is pushing down on the bot side. This is supposed to be the numbers advantage for Vitality, but BDS are saying, yeah, come on into the meat grinder. We're perfectly happy to welcome you.
And I've been someone that is, while acknowledging BDS is a very good team, they seem to have a very defined style.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt like that the problem with being sort of rigid in your approach is that teams can adapt, evolve, and find ways to challenge that. And you'd think that with the week break that they've had to plan, Vitality would come in with a clear idea of how they want to approach. But so far in the early game, BDS is not a team that you can easily ride. When it comes to objective setups, BDS have not been disrupted. In fact, it's Bo that's being controlled by BDS consistently. And Crownie, like, the battle for top AD carry, this was going to be the decider. Between these two AD carries, Crownie or Upset, who's at the top of our league? And right now, it's the Crownie show.
And I think a huge portion of BDS's success can be looked at through Sheo as well. In fact, this guy's come in. We'll have to see if he can try and do it now with this Baron buff, though.
They cannot walk into this Cassio.
They can't walk into Adam.
They can't walk into
anyone.
Q gonna come through. Bo gonna try to use the Sion as a highway to get back in, but the Miasma has now stopped his access to the pit. He tries to get in to steal it, but it's too little, it's too late. It's a valiant effort, but it is not enough. Upset spotted on Vision there, cannot afford to step forward. BDS, they were neck and neck for the vast majority of this game, but one fight, two fights, and now they're 6K ahead. They've got a Baron backing them up, and they are in complete control.
BDS, they play clean, calm, and collected League of Legends. And Vitality cannot answer.
Kaiser?
What is this? But he's going in.
Flash over, just gonna try to ult Nuke. Nuke not quite able to get the ult off. Perkz now gonna try to burn through the Cassio, but she's too damn tanky. Upset doesn't have the damage either. They just walked into the meat grinder.
That was a bit of an overstep, I'm gonna say, by Kaiser. BDS very happy for that one to come through. Now immediately start to push down. Adam is in the middle here, making sure that he can keep this wave push forward. And Vitality, it felt like a desperation play when I don't know if they really needed to.
BDS just continuing to dominate, and massive props to Nuke. He was the focus in that fight. Vitality made the call. Let's collapse, let's dive. But what happens? Just before he gets CC'd, Miasma comes down, locks up Bo, locks up Upset. There is no follow-up, which means that they kill Kaiser, they kill Perkz, and they force Vitality to run away.
And when we talk about this team, we talk about them as like seeking this redemption that's almost just part of the organization and the organization's failure last year. But Nuke was the guy on that roster that they kept. Nuke was the guy that they believed in, that they put their faith in. He was the roster that was initially built on last year. When that fell apart, they still kept him, and you're starting to see why now. This guy's Cassio is out of control, and as we get further and further, into the tournament, he's showing us more and more. But right now, the fact that he got a comfort pick in a game like this, and the fact that he is showing up, is a massive, massive sign from this player.
He used to be known as Nuclear Int. It just took him a while to get the int out of his system. Am I right? The joke's been made by every caster here, but the man has been stepping up.
But you said it today, so I will laugh for you, good sir.
It's also the fact that you've now brought out this Cassiopeia against the Annie that you had to ban away in game 1, and it's looked spectacular. Perkz really hasn't had the impact they were expecting, so it just frees you up so much in the draft as well, going into a game 3 that BDS are already looking so strong for.
Yeah, we can talk more about, like, I'm sure the analyst test will talk more about it, but like when you looked at Vitality's draft, a lot of it was very much like, oh, they're getting those core power picks of Ahri and Wukong especially. They prioritize the early Jinx, and other teams in the LEC haven't found answers. What have BDS done? They looked at these meta picks and they say, we do have answers. What is our answer into the Kennen? Oh, we have Sion. What? Adam demolished Photon in the top lane. Aphelios has become a massive pick for BDS, and it was Crownie himself that said he feels that there isn't a good one in Europe except for the man himself, and he's proving it today.
Certainly is. Another Dragon taken down, 2-2. Really, the gold difference is going to start to feel insurmountable. 5K Red Bull Baron power play. Massive, massive moment. And for Vitality, again, I feel just like we did in game 1, which is the, hey, look, the window has started to close. You got to try and find something. Yes, they have a Kennen. Yes, the Kennen will scale incredibly well if they can find the right target, but it does not get any easier at this stage of the game.
BDS have become a joy to watch, and with the Baron buff running out, well, I mean ran out rather, now it's the waiting game. I don't expect them to be super over-aggressive. Their vision line continues to get deeper, but it's about controlling those waves and continuing to suffocate Vitality out of their side of the map.
But that's the thing. It's a one-way mirror for BDS in their waiting room. They have so much vision that's existing in the Vitality jungle that they know exactly what Vitality are up to at every step of the way. And it makes it so difficult for Vitality to try and look for a pick to get back into this game, because the tools are fantastic with a Nautilus, an Annie, at least Sin, but there's just no way for them to try and spot out where BDS are.
4 sweepers for BDS. 3 blue trinkets for Vitality. They're desperate to try and gain some vision that they're using these far sights to just garner some information as to what BDS is doing in their half of the map.
And that is the level of desperation. They're going to spot a recall. That maybe makes them feel confident enough that they can start to walk forward and contest just this tiniest bit of vision. Baron's still pretty far away, so it's not going to matter a lot, but maybe it'll give them access to 1 or 2 camps, a bit more gold, something to keep the hope alive as we get later into this game, because you highlighted, they've got a lot of great tools. They've got the Annie, but the problem is BDS have a lot of great answers. Nuke already with a stopwatch, Sheo with a stopwatch, Labrov ready to devour anybody who's going to get caught out here. So again, we're in a situation where in last game it was all about if you can just one-shot Crownie, maybe you can win a fight. It's just not that simple. If you can one-shot Crownie and Nuke at the same time before they can push any of their active things.
It's the reverse. You got the 4K gold lead now in mid lane for Nuke. They get to toss it back and forth, you know?
Which is terrifying. Yeah. Because it's not like, regardless of who's playing it, at a certain point, Aphelios is just going to push R and one-shot your entire team.
I will also say that in an ideal world for Vitality, when you pick something like a Xayah, you're hoping that BDS comes into you. But it's BDS that have all the disengaged tools once again. They're the team that likes to have their opposition come into them, and they're the ones that playing retreat. They prefer the front to back. They use Adam as a wall, and Labrov in game 1 used Thresh to provide peel. Now in game 2, he's using the Tahm Kench. Like, it's a situation where Upset, even though he was very strong in the early game, has just struggled to really get involved in the fights.
He just doesn't, he doesn't have the range.
Yeah.
You walk forward, you get miasma, you're dead. You don't have a Tahm Kench.
He doesn't have the front line either. I mean, Photon isn't particularly tanky right now. No one on the squad really is. So whereas you want to try and be able to play forward in these fights, you're just getting absolutely rinsed by this Cassiopeia, this Aphelios, and Adam's just standing there going, yeah, come at me, bro.
And again, you talk about BDS wanting Vitality to fight into them. With the control they have of the map, as highlighted earlier, with the vision that they have, they're always going to get first set up on objective. So BDS don't even have to go for it. There's just no world where BDS, even if they have the tools, even if they want to use the Sion ult aggressively, the Wukong ult aggressively, they just probably will never have to.
And I love this. Observe, if you could hold this panel for me, because you can see this vision that's just being set up here and here. Just they unique wards in the sense that that's not the expectation of where these wards typically are, right? And it just gives you that extra bit of information. And the Baron spawns immediately started by BDS. No reason for them to hesitate. Sheo holding the line, not even in the pit, but the TP comes through. Vitality want to fight.
Perkz over the wall, but now they can just try to collapse on the flank. See what they can get. Instantly going to try to kick this one off. Upset waiting over the wall, but it's Adam in the midst of the entire team. It's going to take so much time for them to try to burn it down. So instead, they're going to turn back. Photon and Perkz on the backside, but Perkz is already almost dead. He hasn't used the ultimate quite yet. Maybe he can try to turn it back, but Sheo's going to try to focus on that one. Crownie in the pinch again, getting the reshake, getting the chakram. The kick coming through is big from Bo, but they do not have the damage. Sheo buying so much space, buying so much time. Crownie now stepping forward, looking to keep those chakrams going. Perkz trying to find the stun. Crownie might just get taken down, but no. Labrov says no. Nuke waiting over the wall. The snake now on the hunt, looking to tear through Vitality. It is a scrappy, messy fight. 2 kills going over to Photon off screen. Crownie firing back to take down Photon. Perkz walking into no man's land, getting his team just a bit of space, but for now, the Baron remains standing.
There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. Upset will be the sole survivor of that fight as Perkz goes down. May actually not be. Adam wants to get in his face, but the big problem there, Vitality, yes, they get some good flanks positions, but again, Upset not able to follow up.
Crazy team fight from BDS. The flash in from Nuke with the ultimate once again. The flank looked promising from Vitality, but the response from BDS was so quick. You can see that the second that the TP comes through, BDS respond.
And it's a nice start here where you think, okay, Photon and Perkz can get into position, but because Adam bought so much space, it's easy for the rest of BDS to turn onto the solo laners of Vitality. And at this stage, you've already thrown down the ultimate. Photon ends up just using a singular ult on this fight for Sheo, which means that the rest of BDS knows, hey, we're fine. We don't have to worry about this Mighty Mouse coming in off the side. We have the rest of our team now falling back to deal with them.
Sheo just played the fight beautifully from start to finish. Labrov coming in with the clutch. The stun lands, but then the flash consume keeps Crownie alive. Photon is able to get 2 kills at the very least, so he flashes in, gets the first pick onto Sheo, and is able to trade back. And then Photon does end up losing his life to the minions. He realizes this mid-tier 1 is still here, but I love the way in which Sheo immediately dives onto the flank and Adam is basically zoning 3 members away by himself. He's keeping Kaiser, Upset, and Bo busy, while then the flank is getting collapsed on. It's just great team fighting overall from the side of BDS.
I will say, though, they have to be careful. Photon just got a ton of gold, and you saw how much damage he was doing in that fight. So while BDS are still wildly far ahead, you have to give that respect to the Kennen, especially once that death cap is completed, because Crownie kind of overstepped there, to be honest. I think played a bit overconfident to just walk into the Annie and the Kennen, and it's only going to get harder to survive as we get later into the game.
And look at the summoner spells that were burnt as well. Literally every flash apart from upsets was used in that last fight. So if Photon can find that opportunity with the death cap just completed now, that could be lights out for BDS. But it is also incredibly difficult to get into that position when you're not going for this Hextech Protobelt build. You're going for the Riftmaker. You don't really have the ability to close that gap easily.
Damage galore in Photon's pocket. He'd love level 16, max out that ultimate, get as much damage as possible. Upset actually taking the level advantage over Crownie. Crownie will now hit level 15, but I'm starting to feel a little worried for BDS.
Quick snare for a bit of poke.
It feels like Vitality, as you rightly said, do have tools to win a fight if they can get it to go their way. Crownie, no summoners. Kaiser goes in.
Have to be careful about fighting into that pinch for either side. Nuke and Sheo stepping forward. Adam unkillable. They're starting barely to chip away at that health bar.
They need to get Photon 6. You can see again the XP bar next to his icon in the top left. That pink bar gets closer and closer, but it's still a little ways off level 16.
Labrov now going forward. Adam going to instantly look for the follow, but he's not quite able to connect. They're going to kick him right back out. Now Kaiser's going to hook in. Sheo on the backside could be everything they need to burn through BDS. Photon waiting. Hasn't used the ult yet, but that's the Annie locked up. Annie trying to burn her whole combo with BDS. Have taken the fight. It's a beautiful flank from the Wukong. So much patience. Vitality thought they had the angle, but they did not.
And again, that vision for BDS is just beautiful. Great ward in the mid lane. Spots out exactly where Vitality are. Lets Sheo know that he can go for this deep play. And now Vitality, again, they're taking mid lane turrets, but it's a consolation prize for a Baron.
They're trying to get whatever gold they can get back. But BDS, they continue to play the fights beautifully. Vitality, every window that looks somewhat promising just falls short as it starts off with Adam coming in from the left.
I mean, the fact that this knockup comes through from Labrov is brilliant. Bo managing to step back, but it's all eyes on Sheo as this fight starts to go forward, because you can see Perkz doesn't really know what to do, where he's supposed to focus. Photon, I think, really should have gone forward here to buy space for his team with the ultimate, but without that happening, BDS just get to chase up and maul through that low health Vitality.
Yeah, you saw a window there where it looked like a dive in from Photon, flash onto the backside, could have been everything, but Photon with no flash, not hitting that level 16 yet. It seems that Vitality was saying, we don't feel confident enough to make this play, so they're forced to retreat. BDS now with the 8k gold lead, looking to siege onto the base of Vitality.
And it also looked like a little bit of a split call. Kaiser went in, everybody else backed up. Clearly a moment of hesitation from the side of Vitality, one that you cannot afford to have when you're at this kind of deficit in this game. BDS on the road to match point here, commanding game 1. Game 2 a bit closer in the early to mid game, but BDS wildly far ahead on the back of a few fights in their favor and now complete control on the map.
Keep track of that flash for Photon, 7 seconds. This could very well be Vitality's last-ditch effort. 3 more, he's posturing.
Labrov has exhaust. This is so hard, you have to find the perfect angle. Sheo backing up, the hook is massive onto Crownie. Photon can't get in the way, he's grounded. He's just now going to start to ult, but it's too little, it's too late. He's grounded, it is everything. Photon taken out, he is not able to ult the way that he wants to. BDS tearing through Vitality 2 games in a row. Masterful fight from BDS.
And every single time they try to go for it, BDS set themselves up with the miasma, prevent Vitality from playing the game. No real wave here though, they have to wait for one more. But this is BDS taking game 2.
BDS looking confident, looking calm, looking controlled. Adam, the wall that is unbreakable, sieging onto the nexus of Vitality once more.
Nuke pushing the entire team back. BDS having some fun with it. They know they've won the game. They want a few extra kills. Kaiser flashing in and hooking, but that is match point for BDS.
2-0 up in the series, defying many's expectations. And BDS's game plan, it's not complicated, right? Solid drafts, well executed, and every time they fall into small deficits, they don't overcommit. They don't try and do more than they need to. Arguably, they're a little slow. They could push their advantage more, but in a position like this, why do you need to? When the ball is in your court, you force Vitality to make the mistakes, and they have punished them every time.
I think it's also just a great understanding, especially in the early game of BDS, of like, what can they do in fights? How can they best play to their compositional strengths? Because we can see them in game 1 giving up that early dragon but trading it for Rift Herald. And again, in this game, we're seeing, hey, look, maybe we don't go for dragon number 2, we'll go for Rift Herald number 2 and use that then to actually start to snowball our advantages. Time and time again, they've just read the map better than Vitality have and gone, cool, we can either 100% take this fight and turn as one on a dime or just give up what we don't need to.
And when you looked at the series, Photon was supposed to be the big force on the top lane to be reckoned with. He's supposed to be the best.
Yep.
But Adam got him on his own counter pick in game 1 auction with the signature Darius, survived Kennen, arguably the best top lane
Solo
champion
killed
in the meta. Solo killed him, and he did get to the luxury of picking that matchup, but still an impressive performance. And the things that made Vitality so good, that made them a force to be reckoned with, are being systematically dealt with one at a time by this BDS lineup, and that is a terrifying thing to handle. We'll have to see how Vitality turn it around as we get ready for game 3. For now, though, I'm going to send it to a break. We'll be back after this.